The American school system. Talk to me about it. Talk to me about it, Harper Davis. What's the worst part? Tomatoes.
Boo. I think the worst part of the American school system is George Bush. And his No Child Left Behind. Because there was a lot of children left behind. That was Clinton. Hillary Clinton, that's why I ain't vote for you. And still won't. No, I think the worst part truly is watching as an educator kind of this helplessness of like what I'm doing now does matter in some aspects, but the education system as a whole is not going to change because people like the way that education is set up in America in particular is meant to like teach kids whatever they need to do in order to work to keep capitalism going. It's not about what skills kids can. It's not about critical thinking. It's not about them being whole people and being able to form their own opinions. It's really like, you need to learn this thing so you can get this job so you can keep working for us so that we can keep making money and like keep the 1% at the 1% and the people below the poverty line. And I think that's like the worst part, knowing that. Granted, there are times where I feel like I'm really successful and I give the kids the real and I'm able to do that, but like that's not happening everywhere. Like I know the educator friends that I have are doing that work, but like if you're going to a random school that has a TFA program in Tennessee, like those people don't really care. They're just teaching whatever it is they have to teach because that's what the state is demanding, and the state doesn't know what's going on because none of them are educators either. And like people making the decisions aren't the people that are in the classrooms. So I think the politics of it all is probably the worst part.
With that being said, I agree with that, and I think this idea of you're teaching kids to a test. So same like what you said, we're not teaching kids holistically. Like we're not teaching kids how to be good people, right? We're not teaching kids how to socialize. We're not teaching kids to invest in their passions. Like we're not teaching kids things outside of the academics. So like that socio-emotional aspect I think is missing, and like we've taken away like the arts, like all these things that also like help kids stay invested and buy in. That's no longer there. It's like, can you pass your state test? And I think that also alludes to the fact like we see our kids on paper, right? Like some kids really can show up on the test, and some kids that are also really smart maybe have anxiety around tests or don't show up on tests the same. So I think like it really shows like the worst part in our kids in terms of like we don't see them pass a paper or a name on a paper. I think which is like the worst part to your point. So I agree with you. Any other feedback you'd like to share? Because I know, but I also feel like we're in it in the sense of from the point of a classroom. Yeah. I know you're in it in the sense of running a school on the operations front. So what do you think is the worst part of education?
I think tied to what Jasmine was saying, it's definitely the politics.
Jasmine, who's that?
Sorry, HD. Harper Davis.
Who's that? Harper Davis.
Harper Davis. Sabi. Yeah, I definitely think it's the politics of it. Like, even though I'm not in the classroom, I can definitely see kind of like bird's eye view of like all of the different stakeholders that are involved in education. And I think one of the most like depressing parts is that no matter how much effort everyone puts in, whether that's the kids, the teachers, admin, families, like bigger picture, it's not going to do that much difference. Ooh, my press on just popped off.
That's why she need to be in front of the camera.
She's a comedian. But really, it's really disheartening because I think a lot of educators, particularly like those of color, like they come into the industry or the field like wanting to make a difference and wanting to build those relationships and wanting to like have that connection and make like a broader impact. But there's only but so much you could do within like the confines of your classroom or within the confines of your school. And knowing that like, yes, you can have those successes and you can have those small failures, but like in the broader scheme of things, it's like there's only but so much you can do that's going to make a real meaningful impact beyond those walls. Yeah. And I think that's really sad because like we work with such like positive and like good intent, but knowing that like other people aren't necessarily going to have that same mindset is really upsetting.
And I think even to that, like you have people on the ground floor, right? Like that are teachers that become like master teachers that then move up, right? In admin. And it's like they lose touch. They forget what it was like on the ground floor. They forget what it was like when teachers are busting their ass, putting in work. And now it comes to the, we'll get it done. Just get it done kind of mindset, where before it was like you knew what it took to get it done and you knew the hard work. And I think there's also like a level of like grace just like missing. Or like even like best intent, right? Like you want to assume the best in people that you hire, and I don't always think that's there. I think we're in a place where education is so desperate because people don't want to be in education. It's underpaid. Like we can go off the list, right?
Right.
So like we're just putting people in front of our kids that also aren't equipped. Let's also be very real to like manage and do the things. And now like they're suffering from it. Like we have videos now of kids wilding out and doing crazy things because there's no guidance. And I feel like it starts in the home, but it also starts in school. Like kids spend a majority of their day in school. So for us to kind of not be reflective or have any ownership of that, I think is a little scary.
No, that's so real.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the amount of videos I've seen of like students wilding on teachers, and I'm like, that
could never.
You're
I'm losing my job because we're getting the tussling, baby. We're getting the tussling.
Legitimately, people are putting their hands. Yeah. And that's so sad to me when I see stuff like that. Like, especially because, I'm a Twitter girly. And so sometimes I'll see it, and the people on Twitter, I mean, for the most part, people on Twitter kind of have brains, and they'll be like, this is not okay. But then you have some people that are like, oh, the teacher shouldn't provoke the student, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, as a teacher, personally, you're dealing with like 35 kids. So if there's like one kid that's just like not following instructions, that's not, I'm good for a get out. And I saw this one video of this teacher telling the girl to get out. And she said, you can't make me do nothing. And like got in his face and was like, I'm gonna call my dad to come beat you up. And like push this man. This man didn't do anything until like she put her hands on him, and then like he pushed her. And then they started tussling. All the kids pulled their phones out and was like, don't touch her, don't touch her. And I'm like, some of y'all kids really are instigators and bystanders. And like when I was a kid, granted, I don't think I was that nice to some of my teachers. But if I saw something egregious happen, like I had the moral compass to be like, you should chill. Like this is an old lady.
Right.
Like why are we doing this? Like this could be your grandmother. And I feel like a lot of this generation of kids growing up in this social media era where everything needs to be on video and everything needs to be a show, just, I don't know, it's a lost generation.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, what's the best part? What's a highlight? Because that was heavy, and I think it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had, but there are pros to working in education.
I think the kids.
Period.
As much as the kids
Period.
get on my nerves.
Always.
Period.
That's the
I
only
love
answer.
the kids more than anything.
Period.
The kids and my coworkers. People don't under.
The ones I like.
If you like your coworkers, like we met. And we
I'm kidding.
Like when we were together, like
we think Steve's here.
Yeah, like y'all made coming to work fun, but so did the kids. And then I think it's also being at my school that I'm currently at. I've been there for 7 years now. The idea that I've taught generations of kids like moves me a lot. Like there are students that I've taught. I'm on their fourth child, so I've taught 4 of them. So I taught the oldest sister, then the other sister, then the other sister, and I currently have the other sister, and the little sister will be coming.
Right.
And like to be able to, be a part of a family that's seen me. They know Miss Harper Davis. Like they know me. The mom is texting me like, you do so and so's recommendation letter for high school, and then building those connections with students that go beyond when they leave and graduate. Like I teach middle school. I teach 7th grade. So I love seeing my kids that are like 20 and like going to college and like or doing whatever industry that they're doing, and they're like, yo, Miss HD, I remember when you told me this thing. Like, I was talking to Janelli the other day. She sent me a TikTok of a TikTok of a bunch of celebrities talking about their favorite teacher or whatever, and she was like, this is you to me. It was so random. It was like a random Tuesday night. And I was just like, huh?
That had a nerve.
And it really did. And it's like knowing that you don't always get to reach every kid, and I think I was one of those teachers that was like, very much freedom writers, and I was like, I'm gonna get all of them. And I think as you stay in the system, you realize you're not gonna get all of them, and that's okay.
It's a harsh reality.
It's a harsh reality. But the ones that I do get to, and the ones that like I care deeply about, and even just all of my students in general, they just make me, grateful. I'm really grateful for them, and I think that as much as I talk about them, I talk crazy about them. Like, I love teaching them because I think that they have the potential to be really great human beings in the world. So the kids are the best part, and they're just funny. Like, you never know. Like, what other job are you gonna get where you come into work and you don't know what the day is gonna be?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because you don't know what's coming. Like, will there be a fight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who knows?
Will a kid cuss the teacher out? Okay. Will a kid cuss another kid out? Okay.
Right.
Like,
it keeps you on your toes.
They keep you on your toes, and
yeah.
it's like a reality TV show that I never want to stop watching.
That's one I never signed up for. What do you want to share? I saw that you wanted to share something.
It's definitely the kids. Like, without question, it's the kids. And, like, even sometimes it's, like, the families and, like, the partnerships and connections that you build with them. Even though, again, I'm not in the classroom, like, I still have those bright spots with the kids. And I think that, like, makes my day. That truly, truly does. There's, like, one girl. Whenever I would see her in the hallway, she would always say, "Hey, Miss Titus, how's your day going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's good." She's like, "I can make it greater," and I'm like, "Get away from me,
because she has no chill
at all."
Absolutely
but
not.
It like truly brings me so much joy. Like, no matter what is going on, either personally or like amongst the adults. Like, I always tell people all my friends who don't work in education, like, the hardest part is never the kids. It's never the kids. It's the other adults and the other aspects of it. But the kids themselves, they make it like so much more meaningful and like it just brings so much joy. And I appreciate them truly.
I was just lying. It's not never the kids.
I mean, they play a role, but big picture. Big picture.
You gonna stop playing with me?
There's definitely them kids that you be like, should I go to jail?
Yeah.
Can I make it? Nope. Someone's gonna be bending me over.
Reach out to HR real quick before shit hits the fan. No, I agree with both of y'all. Y'all both basically said what I said. I think relationships that you make with kids in the moment, but I think the aftermath of it, like when you have kids that like go on to high school, go on to college, still reach out to you, like, what you doing? Like, let's go out to lunch. Like, oh, like even the other day, I was like, Miss Guy, can you draft this little message to like my little boy? Like, I need a break, but I don't know how to say. Like, them just keeping you like in the loop of like what's going on with them, like their challenges and what they're facing. And I think like them just being so open, I think also provides perspective that we did something right. Like, I feel like there's a level of, like, we're a safe space. So, for me, like, I feel like I'm a safe space for a lot of my students, and that provides me comfort, and I feel like that's the best part, knowing, like, there's maybe other things that are going on that are out of your control, my control, maybe I don't even know. But, like, I know when we're engaging with each other, like, it's meaningful, right? Like, it's genuine, and I think that that's always the best part. And I will say, like, families, I love families. Like, we be kikiing, like, girl, let me tell you, your kid today was a bug out. Or, like, girl, let me tell you, your kid today was, like, a bright spot, right? And I think, like, that level, and I think that's something that was also, like, the worst part. I think, like, slowly but surely, like, the connections or investment that teachers make with families, I think, is slowly deteriorating, which I think impacts or affects, like, how kids show up.
100%.
Yeah.
So, like, I think, like, there's a level of that. But, nonetheless, I do think parents are an immense bright spot for me, for sure. Sometimes I like parents more than I like the kid, so that's kind of crazy.
No, I do like the parent that know the kid.
Correct.
Like, I love the parent that knows the kid.
Correct.
And they be like, Miss AD, they lying. As long as you know.
You can do what you gotta do. Like, we'll follow when I get home. Like, you know what I mean? Those type of parents that keep it transparent, I also think it's a good thing. So with all this being said, what we gonna do, y'all? Nothing. But what the people gonna do?
Not the people.
What the people on top of us gonna do? No, I'm just kidding. Like, what if we could like think of maybe one thing? If you have more great that you could change or you would want to change in the American school system, what would it be?
We
That's
should go to
loaded.
school for 4 days.
I know that's right.
We should work.
You ain't never lie about that.
Cheers to that.
No, I'm serious. I think less time is more. I think about they always do the studies in like Finland, and they don't go to school every day.
Yep.
Like they don't have homework. You don't do state like these big state tests, and they're happy. Like they're more productive.
In Asia, they only taking naps.
Right. Yo, the naps is amazing. Did you see the nap? The
Yes.
nap chairs.
Smarter.
The way they desks just go.
Yeah, it's like a recliner. It's crazy.
I'll be like, go there.
Yeah.
Do some ESL.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So I think we do need to change. I mean, that's my joking one. But I'm also dead. I'm dead ass. So any politicians watching this, if you want my vote.
Oh, Lord of mercy. You don't know? You have one, Titus?
I don't know.
I think so.
Okay, what you got?
I think tied to what you were saying about the families,
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely implement some sort of, I don't know if it's like mandate, because you can't really mandate stuff, right? Like truly speaking, but some level of like resources that go straight to families about how they can and should be playing a role in their children's education.
Yeah.
I think that, and it's so interesting to me because like I feel like I've been in this field for what, like 12 years now. So I know I'm old, girl. But it's so interesting seeing the difference in like the families that I first started working with versus
Yes,
the
I
families
agree.
now, and there's just such a disconnect. Like from one, just general interest and like wanting to like show up to events, to like really in a way like caring about like how the kid is doing.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of really just like, are they in detention? Are they passing? What's happening? And then that's it.
Yeah.
But then like I would want it to be so that families know exactly what they can do to help their children, and then like make them do the thing. Yeah, and I find it so interesting that like those connections are slowly deteriorating, like Jay was saying, because the families or the parents now are like our age
Yep.
ish. And I think that's such an interesting reflection of like millennials. And I'm like, what is it that's causing that sort of like parenting of these kids, right? Where it's like, it's one thing about the like academics, but also like the way that kids are behaving, where it's like, is it because like we're so disillusioned by like our own educational experiences, where it's like, they told us to go to college, they told us to do this, they told us to do that, and here we are, we're not on a yacht yet. But is it because of like that experience? Is it because of that experience that like parents nowadays just like aren't impressing that importance of education on their kids now?
That's real.
So like I wonder like where that gap is and like what anyone can
really
do
good.
to like really support that. But if I were to pick one thing, it would be like figuring out how to tap into like leveraging families more as like meaningful partners in education.
That's good. That's good.
That's always my change, is family investment. But you just kind of nailed it. I think a close second to me would be the curriculum. I think across the board, I think we're seeing so many shifts change, like trying to raise like, you know what I mean? Like the politics you were saying behind it. But I think we don't have like a curriculum that's holistic to our point. So like we're teaching kids how to like read and write, but we're not teaching kids like the skills to really be successful in the real world. So like I guess also leveraging in a way like SEL more, right? Like really having that be
That's social
like
emotional learning.
Social emotional learning, financial literacy, like all these classes that have kind of been snatched away because we have so much tunnel vision on like kids like showing up for tests, but not in the other aspects, which then I feel like translates to them not being their best selves. Like we have so many kids that have the potential, but I don't think we found the right tools to tap into it, to their interests. So I don't care what anybody says, like, if you invest in a kid and you invest in what they like, they will also give you something in return. I feel like sometimes we don't, like, we think real low of our kids and expectations. But I think if we find a balance of, like, you love this, you can do this, like, let's use this, like, leverage your strengths to then show up in the ways that we would like them to show up. So like kind of like an even trade. I don't think we're there yet. And I think it starts with just how we kind of base our curriculum and design like our way that we teach kids. I don't think is as effective as it should be. And I think also in the lens of teaching like kids with disabilities, it's not impactful like us, like, you know what I mean? So that would be my change. A close second to family investment though. Family investment, I will always say is a number one, always. Because it starts, again, in the home. We have them for all these hours, but it starts in the home. If you don't care, they don't care. And they gonna tell you that.
And they
gonna tell you that every single time. They gonna tell you that. Call her. Oh, you want to call her? Oh, parent teacher. They doesn't. Oh no, she said she'll
she
call
blocked
you
the
on her
number,
phone.
so
hello.
it's okay. She blocked the number. Well,
yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
All right, that's fine.
Who Chile?
Oh, that's good. I'm taking both of y'all. I like both.
Okay, I know this range.
Shout out to that.